In the first decade of the current millennium, netbooks were pretty popular low-budget machines. Most of them were small and contained just enough power to do some basic tasks. Asus Eee PC line was one of the more popular ones. This 2008 Eee PC 900 belonged to my father-in-law and comes with a whopping 1 GB of internal memory, 20 GB of SSD storage, 4 of which is soldered onto the motherboard and the other 16 on a mini PCI Express module. It houses an Intel Celeron M353 CPU and it has an 8.9-inch screen with a 1024x600 resolution. The original Xandros operating system was already wiped from this thing, so I thought it would be nice to try something modern. Mageia's 32-bit distro.
It's the anarchy with me on the exciting guy!
On Mageia.org, we see that their latest release is from August 2023, but it's still the supported release and gets regular updates. Let's click Downloads. Live Media. Let's go for the XFCE desktop today. And of course, the 32-bit architecture. This Celeron CPU does not support 64-bit instructions. It boots fine from my Ventoy stick. What language? Let's do English for a change. Amsterdam time zone. Let's enable NTP. US International Keyboard. And there we are. Pretty snappy on this very minimalistic laptop. First thing I'll do is enable tapping. I find it annoying having to press the physical button on the mousepad for each action. Wi-Fi works, so let's connect. No issues so far. Look, only 244 megabytes in use. Not bad at all. Let's just install this one. As mentioned before, this system has 2 drives. Luckily, Mageia's installer makes it pretty easy to use both. Just select custom partitioning. I have already set up partitions from an earlier install, so I will select the first partition on my 4GB drive to be my boot drive and keep the rest of that one for swap. And the whole of the 16GB drive for our root partition. Yeah, format both, just to be sure. Remove unused hardware support and localizations. Yes, please. And there it goes. This process took a very long time, close to 2 hours in total. It seems that the 16GB drive is extremely slow. A lot of people are complaining about that online as well, even when it was brand new. It is what it is. I'm not sure yet if it's worth upgrading to a faster drive. Anyway, booting takes a bit over a minute and then we've got a fully functional Linux desktop. So what can we do with it? Well, you can do some complex calculations in the spreadsheet. We've got a Firefox browser which is capable of displaying all modern websites. Look, you can buy me a coffee from here. Pretty neat. YouTube is not great. This is not a slideshow. Or well, it is on this laptop, but it's not supposed to be. Music is no problem though, so if you need a jukebox system, this will do perfectly fine. Installing software is horribly slow. It seems like especially writing on this SSD is quite painful. I've seen spinning hard drives in the 90s that were faster. So I just installed VLC and I have downloaded some variants of Big Buck Bunny. The 720p variants, nope. But hey, this screen can't even display 720p resolution, so let's try 480p. Not really. 640 by 360. That one is okay, but it struggles keeping up on some faster parts of the film. Right, 320 by 180. This is fine, even on the faster parts it keeps up with no issues at all. That seems bad, but to be honest, on this small screen size it doesn't even look that bad. Might be good enough for children to watch cartoons with. Right, so does it game? Well, Super Tux runs fine. And even Tux Racer does way better than I expected. Playable for sure. Amelia Pinball, however, runs so slow it's totally unplayable. Super Tux Kart? Not great. And this is on the lowest possible settings, as you can see here. By the way, here's our Neo fetch, for whoever's interested. Only 220 MB in use installed, even less than from USB. Off camera, I installed Mageia on this Chinese SD card that came with a cheap retro handheld. Believe it or not, this only took about half an hour. Way faster than installing on the internal drives. So that's interesting. However, in boot time and overall use, I didn't notice a big difference. Let's run a speed test just for fun. To make sure you can see what happens, I connected my capture device to the VGA out on this Eee PC. That provided me with a clone desktop, but since the capture card was set to be a 1080p monitor, the desktop only fills about a quarter of the screen. I tried to change modes, but yeah. Anyway, let's test the speed of that 16GB internal SSD. Around 30 megabytes a second read rate, almost 12 megabytes a second write rate, and 0.72 millisecond access time. The SD card has a read rate of around 15 megabytes a second, a write rate of about 14, and a 2 millisecond access time. So while the SD card writes a bit faster, it's not by as much as you'd expect. And according to this speed test, it even reads way slower. Let's try to test this card from my camera. 14 megabytes a second read and 16 megabytes a second write rate. Interesting. I know for sure this card can reach way higher speeds, but not in this SD card slot apparently. Not sure why the speed test is so much different than the real world effect. I mean, installing on SD is about 4 times faster, so maybe I'm testing wrong? Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.